Why, hello there. You seem to have spotted me wondering what would happen if another war broke out in the Middle East, specifically between Syria and Turkey. Now, a few Americans out there, or a few people, probably Americans, because Americans are bad at geography. Explaining the joke really makes it funny, doesn't it? Anyway, might be wondering what country is Turkey? It's Turkey. But recently the Turkian government, well, not recently, but the Turkian government has asked everyone to call this country Turkey instead of Turkey. It's probably a big cultural reason why, but I don't know it. So I'm just going to call this Turkey for the rest of the episode, and yeah, that's my explanation why. Anyway, let's begin the scenario. So, Turkey, wait no, that's the wrong colour. Red is for attackers, red is for the person who declares the war. So Turkey is going to declare war on Syria. Now, why are they doing this? Well, it could be to remove a threat from the region, expand their borders, have a good PR campaign for their quote-unquote president. The reason I'm saying this is because their president is basically a dictator, but not a dictator. So yeah, PR campaign for him. But what they don't expect is for Iran to join the war. So now, in a war, Syria and Iran can't take out Turkey. Turkey, top 10 military power. Iran's 13, and I don't know what Syria is. But it does give Turkey a fright. But nevertheless, they're going to begin to push into Syria, because Syria is not that strong and very, very politically unstable. So they're going to do a push in, separate them from the Mediterranean, and yeah, basically do pretty well in the beginning of this war, as Syria's government is unorganized and Iran can't really help them because Iraq's in the way. Iran makes a small push into Turkey, but it's small and pretty insignificant. More countries are going to join this war, including Georgia. Oh, I forgot what you're called. This one. And you? Azerbaijan, I think. So, I don't know. Which begins another front in the Caucasus Mountains, where we have Georgia. Oh wait, I have to address this. This country, it's in CSTO, the Collective Security Treaty Organization, which is like Russia's NATO. But a while back, them and Azerbaijan went to war, and despite calls for CSTO to be activated, no one did anything. So I'm going to say that's what happens in this scenario as well. Okay, so we see Iran push up and around Azerbaijan. Georgia begins to push down into this country, and Turkey continues their push down to Syria. Now, Turkey is quite worried as Iran isn't really using its... They expected their military to go push up, probably try and get to the Black Sea, take this bit of land, go on a giant offensive, while most of Turkey's military is still down here. But they haven't done anything yet. And they're wondering what sneaky trick they have on their sleeve. And that sneaky trick is Iraq. So, Iranian troops storm the border and begin to push up. Iranian and Iraq troops, and push up, making an encircling movement against these Turkian troops, and pushing the Turkians back in Syria. And what? Yeah. So, let's talk about Iraq. Iraq and Iran went to war a couple of years back. They don't really like each other very much. But I think that if Iraq thought Syria was going to fall, and then they'd have a larger border with Turkey. Turkey doesn't like Iraq. Just strategically, it's easier to make a friend than have a larger border with an enemy, if that makes sense. Probably doesn't, but oh well. So we see this Turkish contingent be forced to surrender, while Turkey decides to retreat these forces out of Syria so it can refocus on the northern campaign. Well, not this campaign here. Meanwhile, we see them having a bit of success in the Caucasus campaign. And we also see Lebanon decide to join the war. With Lebanon joining the war, Israel's going to decide that now is their time to shine, and they will join the conflict. Oh God, yeah, just pretend this is the whole of Israel, because this software, it's very strange. One moment. Perfect. Exactly, that's what I wanted. Thank you. So yeah, and while I attempt to figure out how this works, I'm gonna justify Israel for joining this war. They're already at war with Hamas, and they have been trading missile shots with Iran and the Houthi rebels in Lebanon. So it makes sense for them to join the conflict so that they can remove two large threats in the region. That is my reasoning. Anyway, with Israel joining the war, we see them do large pushes into Lebanon and Syria. Now, why? Sorry. Behind the scenes, this is how you get. Oh, wait. Okay. Back on topic. A large Israeli push into Lebanon and Syria takes out most of Lebanon and a good chunk of Syria. We see the Iranians do a breakout campaign over here and are able to successfully separate Azerbaijan and Georgia, while pushing the Turkians back a bit and what am I saying? Holding a defensive front over here while slowly pushing into Azerbaijan. Turkey and Israel are successful in a campaign to push the blue team away from the Mediterranean Sea, and they take troops from here so that they can continue to push down on this front line. Baghdad is the capital of Syria, I think, and it's around there. They take that. Wait, no. Baghdad's the capital of Iraq. Wait. Sorry, my brain's stalling here. No, Baghdad is the capital of Iraq. The capital of Syria is something that starts with D, and they took it. It's over there. Okay. Anyway. We see the fall of Azerbaijan. Syria officially surrenders, but we see blue team troops holding a defensive front over here. And the war devolves into a stalemate. Now, let's take a look at each team's war plan. Now, red team is far stronger than the blue team, and Iran knows this. So Iran is going to try this. They're going to do a breakout campaign, push up, spearhead, and trap these Turkish troops here. Then they're going to push down, separating Turkey from Israel. And then they're going to sue for peace. They're going to push in a bit, using all their military to do this, and giant conscription. And then they're going to sue for peace with these borders and see if they and their allies can get out unscathed. Meanwhile, Turkey and Israel's plan is to just simply push in, take Baghdad. Wait, is that where Baghdad is? I think so. Take Baghdad, probably cut off the southern area and take here, slowly push the Iranians out of Turkey, retake Azerbaijan, and I think they want to take a good northern bit of Syria. Now, there won't be very many changes on this front because it's heavily fortified with a lot of mountains. So, that is both teams' plan. And let's see how they're going to put this into action. Wait, before I do that, I'm going to say, last video, my Russia v China video, I just, rewatching this, I just realized I made China way too strong then. China was way too strong, Russia was way too weak, made the video less realistic and, in my opinion, less entertaining. The only reasoning I'm going to give for why I did that is because, one, I'm stupid, and two, because I'm just thinking, if China went to war with Russia and then India got involved, I think every man, woman, and child in China would be conscripted, and they would just throw in more bodies than Russia could handle. That's my only reasoning. Anyway, so we're going to see the blue team begin their push-up to take this area. Don't know what it's called. Meanwhile, the red team is able to push to fully take Syria and begin a small campaign into the bottom of Iraq. Georgia is being slightly pushed into. The red team makes a campaign to cut off the spearhead, but is eventually blocked by Iranian forces. We see Jordan entering this conflict on the side of the blue team, and we find that Iran has secretly been sending troops to here, and they're going to push up and be able to separate this battalion. But this battalion, you see, they're pretty brave. So they're going to attempt to make a campaign to Baghdad. They're going to make it to Baghdad, but they're going to be surrounded in the city and unable to get reinforcements. Is that where Baghdad is? I think it's more down here. I think there. Okay. Doesn't matter. Just pretend Baghdad is there. And they're going to begin to get pushed into on all sides by Iraqi forces, but they're going to hold their ground in the city. Okay. So, meanwhile, in the Caucasus Mountain region, we see Iran being able to fully make their encircling movement at the loss of pushbacks by the Turkish army there. They expected to get more land and more troops to be caught in here, but it didn't really work out. So, but still, it's a big loss, and Georgia decides to leave the war, as it's really not going too well for them. So, car. Boop, boop. Just keep it like that then. But with the focus of Iranian troops in the north, we see large pushbacks happening in the south and an invasion of Jordan. Syria is, wouldn't say liberated, but it's taken. And Jordan begins to get pushed in on all sides and is regretting its choice to join this war. Meanwhile, these guys are even smaller now and way weaker. And with the cancellation of any attempt to go save these troops, they decide to surrender. But they did a good job, and they distracted a lot of Iraqi forces, allowing Israel to push into the country. Now, I'm going to quickly stop the war for a second. Who would be winning in this conflict? Turkey has Syria. Jordan's going to fall very quickly. So they have Lebanon, Syria, and they're about to get Jordan. Meanwhile, Iran has Azerbaijan and Georgia, and also a bit of land in Turkey. So currently, I'd say the red team is losing. Well, I don't know. Anyway, let's continue. We see a reorganization of troops and a large blue pushback on this front, as well as them being taken out of Iraq. Jordan capitulates, and a campaign in the south begins to unprepared Iraqi forces. A spearhead is made to attempt to take Baghdad, but they are unable to reach the city. The forces in the north get continuously the forces in northern Turkey are forced back, and they decide to pull troops out of this front so that there's no risk of encirclement, and are able to push the Iraqi forces further. What am I saying? They are able to push the blue team forces back. Goodness, I can't speak English. They move down to take northern Iraq, and at this point Iran sees the writing on the wall. They're probably not going to win. Well, they're not going to win, but they want to get something from this, so they decide to do a breakout. So they decide this is their new plan. Spearhead down to the Mediterranean, cutting the red team forces in two, push them back here, and then sue for peace. That is their plan. And in the beginning, it goes pretty well. They are able to push the Turkians back here, and their spearhead, well, it doesn't do too badly. But the problem with spearheads, well, now it's no longer a spearhead, now it's just a ball of troops that are now cut from their supply line, and they begin to get encircled. But they're not done yet, and Iran makes a large campaign to rescue them, pushing it back in the north but not being able to reach, and eventually another spearhead in the south is able to reach and unite the front. This costs them a lot of resources, and they're able to so Turkey is able to push them back almost completely out of their country, and they begin to enter this mountainous land. Israel continues to push around, but is unable to make any advancements towards Baghdad. Iran makes another campaign to attempt to reach the Mediterranean, but it is stopped. Azerbaijan is liberated. Iran is able to finally reach the Mediterranean, and they put up a peace offer, and the red team does not accept. But after a breakout campaign to take Baghdad, the rejoining of Georgia in the war, which, that's kind of a really rude move there, Georgia. Surrendering when things get tough and then rejoining when your allies come and save you. And the pushback of the front line in Turkey to almost completely kicking the Iranians out of the country. They decide to meet for peace terms. I'll see you guys in 10 minutes after I draw up a peace treaty. So, as you can see, we have a divided Syria now, split between Turkey and Israel. Lebanon and Jordan are no more, with Israel getting all of Lebanon and most of Jordan, while Iraq taking whatever was left, both Syria and Jordan, of course. The country up here, I forgot their name. I should have probably researched that while I was gone. But they were split between Georgia and Azerbaijan, with Azerbaijan losing a bit of land to Iran. So all over, Iran got out of this war with land, which is pretty good for them. Syria got out of this war with no country. Any country near Israel that decided to join the war suffered heavily for it. And Iraq was able to actually gain land. So I'm going to change that a bit. Actually, while we're doing it, Iraq is going to lose this bit of land here. Make that border look a bit better. There we go. So they're going to lose a bit of land to Turkey since they lost the war. Anyway, so we have now got ugly Israel, and if you're wondering why Palestine isn't there, it's because to actually make this borders, I had to erase Palestine. But don't worry, Palestine is still there. Don't get too angry. Anyway. Yeah, that'll be it for today's video. Besides our sponsor, stay for that. Anyway, thanks. Hope you have a good day, and goodbye. This video is sponsored by ONI. ONI is a specialized division of the UNSC. If you're confused right now, you must be living under a rock, but I'll give you some clarification. The UNSC is the United Nations Space Command, and if you think it's the United Nations Security Council, we'd highly recommend you get some help. Now, what is ONI? ONI is the Office of Naval Intelligence. They help the UNSC with several different parts of handling the galaxy, like propaganda, spreading of information, wartime efficiency, and creating ways to make better soldiers. They've also pioneered technology like the Mjolnir armor. And as you might know, the Spartans come from ONI. Now, there are several different jobs that you can apply for at ONI. One of them is to be a journalist. You can go to far-off systems and document the tragedies of the Covenant. The news. In a completely free and fair environment. Or you could become a ship captain. Yeah, a ship captain. And pioneer the new fight against the Covenant. If none of these sound appealing to you, perhaps you would like to be helping us remove things that that the people don't want to see. And remember, everyone in ONI has worked there for the rest of their lives. One of the best success rates we've seen out of the galaxy. And before I go, remember, ONI is watching. See you soon.